Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally here. We have the huge matchup between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Tennessee Volunteers. And this game is absolutely crazy as the Tennessee Volunteers have to travel to Bryant-Denny Stadium to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide in a huge SEC matchup. And this game was an all-out classic last year, as many of us remember. It arguably was the best game of college football 2022 as the Tennessee Volunteers would pull off the upset and win 52-49. And their fans would go absolutely nuts, storming the field after this victory. And honestly, I'm kind of expecting the same game this year. I think this game is going to be another college football classic as it has huge SEC implications for both the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Tennessee Volunteers. This SEC matchup will be played at 3:30 on CBS, and currently the spread for this game is -9.5, favoring the Alabama Crimson Tide. And the over-under in this game is 48 points, with the ESPN FPI giving Alabama a 76% chance to win this game. This game will be a top 20 matchup as the Tennessee Volunteers are ranked number 17 as they start off the season 5-1, while the Alabama Crimson Tide are ranked number 11 and they started off the season 6-1. And both of these teams are honestly pretty evenly matched. Both of these teams' offenses are pretty similar as they're fairly inconsistent, as Tennessee is averaging 443 yards a game on offense, while Alabama is averaging 367. However, we must take these stats with a grain of salt as we have to look at who each of these teams have been playing so far this season. Despite Alabama's offense averaging less yards than the Tennessee Volunteers, they've played much harder competition as they've had to face big schools such as Texas, where they would come up and lose 34-24, a very gritty win against Ole Miss 24-10, and playing schools such as Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Arkansas the last 3 weeks of college football. While Tennessee has had very easy games this season so far, their hardest competition came against Florida in week number 3, and they would lose a heartbreaker in a 29-16 score. And other than that, they've had extremely easy games as their last 3 came against UTSA, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, where they picked up a huge victory in a 20-13 score. And honestly, both of these teams' quarterbacks are very similar too, as they're extremely shaky at times, however extremely explosive too. First up, we have Alabama and their quarterback Jalen Milroe, who has officially been named the starter and has absolutely balled out in the last couple weeks. He started off this season pretty shaky, however, this season he has thrown for 1,397 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions this season. While Tennessee's quarterback Joe Milton has also had many rumors about him being benched this season, as he has thrown for 1,264 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And honestly, both of these quarterbacks are extremely explosive at times, however, both of them also make some silly mistakes. And honestly, I do think that this game could potentially come down to which quarterback plays better. However, next up, let's look at the rushing attack of each team, and Tennessee does have a much better rushing attack led by their star running back, Jalen Wright. This season, he's kind of been carrying Tennessee's offense as he has 80 carries for 571 yards, 1 touchdown, and has a 7.1 yard per carry average. And he will definitely be a difference maker in this game, as I could see him honestly taking over against the Alabama defense. However, Alabama also has a pretty good running back themselves, as they have their star running back, Jason McClellan, who has 95 carries for 454 yards and 3 touchdowns this season, and he's going to have to step up big time in this game. If Tennessee has the edge in rushing, Alabama definitely has the edge in receiving, as their leading breakout receiver, Jermaine Burton, is playing absolutely amazing right now. He has 19 receptions for 446 yards this season and 4 touchdowns with a 23.5 yards per catch average. And he's honestly starting to play like a very good wide receiver 1 for Alabama, and he's really stepping up at the right time, and they're going to need him against Tennessee. And Tennessee honestly doesn't really have that good of a wide receiver 1, as their best is Squirrel White, who has 29 catches for 305 yards and 0 touchdowns this season. And this honestly could really hurt Tennessee, as they're going to need explosive plays against that very good Alabama defense. And speaking of defenses, look at each of these teams' defenses, as they are very similar, as Tennessee's is allowing 303 yards per game, while Alabama's is allowing 292 yards per game. Alabama definitely edges out Tennessee in the defensive category, as they have one of the best defenses in college football this season. They have an absolutely amazing front 7 who's getting after the quarterback like crazy this season, with their star linebacker Dallas Turner, who has 7 sacks this season, and Alabama has 26 sacks this season as a team. And to go along with this, Alabama has extremely good depth, and they also have an extremely good cornerback in Teron Arnold. And honestly, Alabama is going to make this game extremely hard for Tennessee and Joe Milton. And it definitely will not be as difficult for Jalen Milroe, as Tennessee's defense is definitely not as good as Alabama's. However, Tennessee does still have a very good front 7 led by their star defensive lineman, James Pierce Jr., who has 6 sacks this season, and Tennessee has gone on a rampage, having 24 sacks this college football season. However, they kind of lack depth, and they don't really have a star breakout cornerback like Alabama does. making it much easier for Jalen Milroe to throw the ball. And as I stated, I think this game's going to come down to which quarterback plays better. And since Alabama has a much better defense, I'm going to say that Jalen Milroe plays better against the Tennessee defense, and Alabama comes up with a huge victory in this game as they defeat the Tennessee Volunteers and cover the spread as they win 35-21.